Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about PlayStation 1 emulation on Android with Duckstation. And I would say this is more of just a friendly heads up. So in an earlier video, we talked about how Duckstation on Android was getting regular updates again. The latest update on the Google Play Store is September 30th. However, on the Duckstation website, there are far more recent versions. Now, like everything I talk about, links are in the description below right at the bottom. But if we take a look at the official Duckstation website here, you can see earlier on this year there was about a 9-month gap between Android updates. And then since then, it seems to have been updated quite a bit. In fact, the most recent update here is December 27th. Now, in December alone, there's been 10 new versions of Duckstation on Android. Stenzek has been extremely active this month. There's been a whole bunch of fixes, a number of improvements, and well, even more. For example, in the latest version here from December 27th, Stenzek has added in an achievement progress bar and also game compatibility fixes. Unfortunately, I don't know when the Google Play Store version of Duckstation will be updated, but at the same time here, if you wanted the latest and arguably greatest version of Duckstation, you can pick it up directly from the website. But moving on, and next up, we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation with Citron. Now, we have talked about Citron in a few previous videos. In one of them, I thought Citron was being taken down. I mean, the website was down, and I was wondering if Nintendo was coming after them, given the fact that this is a Yuzu fork, or at least from my understanding it is. And it turned out that was not the case. It was a self-hosted website. There's a problem with it, but everything seemed to be okay after that. Now, none of this is really new news. I mean, we've talked about this in previous videos. However, I was receiving comments that, well, Citron was taken down again and there were some issues with it. Taking a look at the website is currently up, but behind the scenes it appears there are a few hiccups. So Alex WPI Game has just put up a brand new video over on YouTube. It's about 4 minutes in length and I do recommend checking it out. It explains a lot of what's happening behind the scenes. And it appears that some people are not happy with Citron, and in fact, the website was taken down initially due to a DDoS attack. On top of that, it's being reported that 3 servers were lost and the source code along with it. Someone did make a very recent backup and they were able to restore most things and normalize most things. But at the same time here, it goes to show that this team has had an uphill battle trying to get this emulator moving forward. So based on my understanding of the entire situation, it appears that Citron is still okay and still pushing forward. We're going to have to wait and see what happens moving forward with Citron, but it's a very weird environment to me. I mean, I have found that some people who are fans of Nintendo are way more destructive than anything. It's interesting. I mean, we talked about this one a while back when someone posed as a Nintendo lawyer trying to take down a YouTube channel. And this was not the Retro Game Core. This was an entirely separate issue. And it seems it's happened more than once. And it's very weird because impersonating Nintendo is a crime. I mean, to me, it just seems crazy that people are willing to potentially commit crimes to defend a company or impersonate a company or try to shut something down they're not a fan of. It's just a very weird environment. I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but it appears that people do not want this emulator to exist and people are DDoSing it for no other reason than to, I even think DDoSing someone is a crime. So go figure, people are arguably willing to commit crimes to take down something that they don't agree with. But moving on from all of that, and next up we're talking about Halo, and there's been a massive Halo data leak, and by massive, I really mean massive. So here is one of the initial tweets on the subject. Today, a 90GB Halo dig site archive got posted. It contains some builds, tools, docs, etc. from various Halo titles. 343 hired a group of community modders to restore cut content from past Halo games, giving them tools and certain builds back then. On top of that, check this out. Playable beta builds of Halo 1 just dropped today from before the game became an FPS. And taking a look here, and well, this is wild. Talk about a piece of history. Now, I took a look at some of this footage, and to me, it's absolutely wild. It's super cool. And again, like everything I talk about, link will be in the description below at the bottom. But take a look at the Warthog. So the Warthog existed in the beta. and you could also blow it up. Now, obviously the explosion is not very good, and while there are no remnants of the Warthog, it just kind of disappears. The Scorpion was also in the beta. I mean, it goes to show how much stuff was initially conceptualized and how much stuff did not make the final cut or was changed before the final cut. I mean, look at this. In third-person mode, Halo would have been an entirely different experience. Now, one of the many things I'm curious of about this leak is whether or not 343 paid the community modders. Some people are saying, yes, 343 hired them. And some people are saying, no, 343 did not pay any of these modders. For example, here, Luke says, the fact that they don't pay you for this infuriates me. And John says, it is what it is, was what it was. Halo CE for myself at least was totally love of the game, and I was overjoyed seeing reactions to H2E3. Just hoping for the best with this stuff. Now, on top of all of that, there seem to be a lot of differing opinions, mixed opinions on the matter. Some people are excited about the leak and other people not so much. Some people are worried that this leak is going to do bad things for DigSite and as well as Halo and the community moving forward. For example, Anthony says, someone out here really leaking cut content that is actively being worked on for release to the public. And John, who appears to have worked on the project, says, a lot of the group left. Things might not have gotten much further work TBH. Either way, it's all out now. So there's a very real chance that DigSite was not advancing any further. I mean, take a look at what the Duke of Rebels posted here, and I'm seeing a lot of this similar reaction online. My question is, why did DigSite fall apart, and why did this happen? Because now we may never get anything like we get with the DigSite stuff ever again. It's crazy that Microsoft even allowed us to have this stuff anyway. Some bad actor ruined it now. And again, here's John's response, and apparently again, John worked on this. So John says, the TLDR is two things, disagreements with Microsoft and in general. Half of us can't afford to continue work on this without it being an employment thing. Halo CE is something I can easily work with and mod in my free time, but doing something like restoring an H3 level would be like a full-time job. Basically, half of us would need to have financial incentive to commit to something like that. No modder drama or anything crazy like that, just a mixture of some of us don't have the time to keep on this as an unpaid venture, and disagreements with how Microsoft views the community. It's part of the reason why I have the mixed positive feelings of this leak. While I hope nobody I know gets screwed for this, in reality this is probably the one way a good chunk of the H3 Plus content could get out. I hope the community can make good use of it at the least. So there you have it. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, but it just seems that if 343 decided to pay the people working on this thing, well, it would have gone a whole lot better. I guess they decided to save a few bucks here and in turn wasted an entirely good project. If you are interested in learning more about all of this, again, check the links in the description below. There's a lot more here that I'm not talking about. I could talk for a long time about all of this information. I mean, for example, here Sean T, who is reportedly also working on this stuff, or who was working on this stuff, says the community modders didn't really even have access to this, so they don't know who leaked it. And furthermore here, and I find this very interesting, it appears that for Halo, the only thing they will be doing is occasional updates to CE Plus on Xbox. As for now, the Master Chief Collection release will no longer be supported, and they still enjoy CE Plus and will continue supporting it as long as they can. And on a side note here, Daniel Conlon has a very interesting take about the whole financial bit. During my time at Xbox Publishing, we would spend millions monthly on partners that would deliver less than 1% the value in comparison to what DigSite was able to deliver. To hear this level of exploitation still exists in our industry is distasteful. Not a good look for 343's rebrand. So yeah, again, let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. I'm assuming there's going to be quite a bit of debate on this one moving forward and for the foreseeable future. I don't know why 343 wouldn't pay these community modders, and it just seems to me that priorities are not aligned to where they should be. Moving on, and next up we're talking about the Nintendo Switch 2, and I'd be lying with you if I said I wasn't sick of talking about Switch 2 rumors. We talk about them too much and they keep on popping up. A lot of people seem to be very excited about talking about them every single time there's something little new, or potentially new. But this is news and, well, we talk about the news here. So anyways, this one is being talked about quite a bit, but there seem to be images now of the Switch 2, and it's being reported as being called the Switch 2, as well as the new dock. So Twisted Voxel sums up everything real good here. They've got an image of the Switch 2 logo, as well as a Switch 2 dock. I don't know if this is a development unit or not, but the dock to me doesn't look good. The logo, well, Switch 2 is whatever. And the side view of the console. So I don't know what's going on here in terms of whether or not this stuff is real or fake, but it just seems that the leaks we've seen so far all align to something being called the Switch 2 and also the design of this new handheld, as well as, well, I guess possibly the dock. So my advice to basically everyone here is just to take all of this information with a grain of salt. Some may be true, some may not be true. Don't get worked up and don't get too excited about anything just yet. Nintendo has said they're going to unveil the Switch 2 at some point in 2025, and 2025 is just around the corner. I'm assuming there's going to be more leaks as time move on, and some may be true and some may be fake, and a lot of people are going to be talking about it. But moving on, and next up we're talking about Linux gaming and Proton, and Proton Experimental just got a brand new update. If you use Proton Experimental, you may want to make sure it's the latest version here. If you play Marvel Rivals, you may want to make sure you're using Proton Experimental. So in the latest version of Proton Experimental, Black Ink and Factorio are now playable. And additionally, specifically for Marvel Rivals, they've improved rendering of Marvel Rivals launcher. And they fixed Marvel Rivals displaying OS drivers out of date warning. And on a side note here, they've also fixed Assassin's Creed Syndicate not launching on AMD systems due to NVAPI presence. Next up, we're talking about PS4 emulation with Shad PS4 and Bloodborne. And if you're interested in Bloodborne and interested in modding and cut content, you may be interested in the Project Beast mod. Now, based on my understanding, and I might be incorrect about this, so if I am, let me know in the comments below, but the Project Beast mod appears to be a part of the Magnum Opus mod, which is restoring a whole bunch of cut content from Bloodborne. So they say that this mod is the accumulation of data mined cut content from the game and a lot of effort and thousands, I'm not exaggerating, thousands of hours of reworked models, textures, and much more. So in the Project Beast update mod, they say there's revised lighting, more powerful runes, Project Beast weapons restored, and even more. There is a lot here. If you are curious about this one and wanted to see it in action, FromSoftServe has an hour-long video over on YouTube showcasing just that. Next up, we're talking about MediaTek, and it's being reported that MediaTek is gearing up to release the Dimensity 9400 Plus, and this is supposed to have higher clock speeds for the CPU and GPU in comparison with the 9400. I am very curious to see how the 9400 Plus stacks up against the Snapdragon 8 Elite. I'm curious about performance and battery life and also temperature and thermal throttling. We'll have to wait and see on this one, but I will say if you're looking at this from an emulation perspective, it's safe to say that Snapdragon will still be ahead. And that all comes down to drivers, and the Adreno drivers are better than everything on the market currently. Next up is a quick update for the fan-made mod for MVCI, the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and Beyond mod. Maximilian Dude is reporting that this thing has 50,000 downloads so far, and I'm assuming it's well over 50,000 by the time I'm filming this video. But at the same time here, this is a massive milestone and a very good success story for a fan-made mod. And it's worth pointing out that this mod is 100% free, so if you've got MVCI, it may be worth checking out the End Beyond mod to see if it breathes new life into the game for you. And if you've been kicking tires as to whether or not to purchase MVCI, check out footage of the End Beyond mod first and see if that'll help fuel your decision. And last up here, we're talking about Mega Man 10 Online, and it appears that the Mega Man 10 Online co-op has been fully restored. If you are curious about this, Red One has a YouTube video that's about 25 minutes in length showcasing some footage of this mod in action. And if you've got a friend, this game may be a lot of fun. If you are curious about this one, I do recommend checking out that YouTube video or this website here to learn more about the entire project. And they say here for a few key points, joining a hosted session isn't perfect. The better the connection between both players, the better. Recommended to use LAN VPN like Radman VPN or Hamachi. And PC needs to have DirectX 12 or Vulkan to run Xenia. and UPnP needs to be on in Xenia configuration. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. And yes, I know the green button in my hat has been green screened out. Anyways, we talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.